everybody, and welcome to the Run the Alps Rendezvous with me, Hilary Gerardi. Summer is upon us now, and we have an all-new rendezvous with you, or for you guys today. It's pretty timely because it's Marathon Week. This week is the Mont Blanc Marathon, one of the biggest trail running events of the year, and certainly one of Chamonix's biggest trail running events. And so I'm here today with Magali Chevalier, who's going to talk to us quite a lot about the marathon. Just a reminder, the basic format of the rendezvous, what we do is we like to invite someone from the trail running community to join us for a chat. It's just an informal exchange. We talk about all things trail running. And today, as I said, it's the marathon. And Magali here is the responsibly des grands événements, or she's in charge of all the big events in Chamonix at the Club des Sports. And she graciously agreed to talk to us. It's pretty remarkable because this week, starting in just a few days, tens of thousands of people will be arriving in Chamonix for this event. So we're going to try to be respectful of her time and hear a little bit about sort of the background of this event. We're going to start a little bit more about the Club des Sports, the history of the marathon itself, and then because I get to set up the rendezvous, I get to choose what we talk about. I'm going to ask her about something I care a lot about, which is what the Club des Sports and what the marathon in particular is doing in favor of the environment and how to lessen the impact of this event on the natural world. And then we'll finish everything off with the classic lightning round with some questions, really quick, rapid fire, and then call it a day because I think that there are some other things to be doing. So, to begin, thank you, Magali, so much.
Thank you, Hilary. Thank you for the meeting.
Yeah. Also, Magali, usually we speak in French together, but I've asked you to do this in English, and thank you so much for that. We promise to be kind.
Thanks.
So most of the Run the Alps audience comes from outside of France, oftentimes from the US. Where I come from, for example, we didn't have a Club des Sports. We definitely didn't have the first ever Winter Olympics either. But I would love to start with the basics. Like, what is the Club des Sports? What does it do?
The Club des Sports is an association who was created in 1905. And at the beginning, there are only 2 or 3 sports, and now we have 25 different sports. And we have 3,500 people who are members of the sport club. So for a town where there are approximately 10,000 people, we are happy to say that there are 1 people from the sport club in each family inside the valley. So the association is managed by volunteers, some people who are volunteers, and we are 12 people who work for them, for organize the association, the sport, and for organize the big events. Okay,
so when you say that you guys have 25 sports, what does that mean to have a sport?
It's a 25 different sections with, by example, climbing section, ski, tennis, hockey. So we have.
Okay, so it's not just mountain sports.
No. Okay. No, we have lots of different sports, and we have also table tennis. Totally opposite with the mountain, but it's nice to have lots of different sports. And we have a section for each sport, and we have some people who are in 2 or 3 sections, for example, and we help the children to practice their sport inside this section.
So it seems to me like the Club des Sports is something that's really important for the community in the valley. It gives people lots of opportunities to take part and try lots of different kinds of sports. Probably outside for people who don't live in the valley, they maybe heard of the Club des Sports because you organize some big events and that's your main job.
Yeah.
What are the events besides the marathon?
We have also a World Cup climbing and a World Cup skiing whose name is the Candar.
Okay, so actually I saw, because World Cup climbing must be coming soon after the marathon.
Yeah.
Because in the village where they have all of the stands for all the different brands and sponsors and nonprofits that come, there's a giant climbing wall being built.
Yeah. Yeah, we organized the World Cup climbing 10 days after the Mont Blanc Marathon. So it's a huge period for us.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty fast. And then, as you mentioned, the Kandahar, which is the World Cup alpine ski descent.
Yeah, the downhill and slalom. For next year, it's in February also.
Okay, so I've heard before that you don't like it when people say that you are the organizer of the marathon.
Yeah, because I'm not the only one, because if there are only me, I can do anything, yeah, for sure.
But I would love to know, like, as the person in charge of the big events, what does your job look like? What does that entail?
I manage the people who work with me on the event, for sure, and also I manage the partners, the communication, and the administrative things that we have to do, because to organize the Mont Blanc Marathon, we have to request to the administration, the French administration, lots of authorization,
Authorization, permitting,
for organize this. So we have a big file to do, and we have lots of different people to ask the permit to organize. So I manage this, and after, during the weeks of the event, I resolve all the problems that we meet. Because normally we have no problem, but in the event we have every time some problem.
Okay, yeah, I can't imagine how little you sleep or how much coffee you drink during the week.
Lots of coffee and less sleeping.
Okay. So obviously the event that we're here to talk about is the Mont Blanc Marathon, and I would love for you to tell me a little bit about the history of the event. My understanding is that the Cross du Mont Blanc, so the first, sort of event, was one of, maybe with the Dent de Midi and Cerzinal, one of the first trail running events in Europe, in the Alps. It's not as small as it was before. Can you tell me a little bit about?
So yeah, at the beginning it was the Cross du Mont Blanc in 1979. It was created by the CAF, the Club Alpin Français. It was the first year, it was this association who created the Cross du Mont Blanc, and after it was the sport club who takes the organization. And in 2003, there are some people who come for speak with us and who say, we have the idea, we can create maybe a marathon. So the first year we organized the marathon in 2003. We organized a road marathon, half part of the road, and the second part was the end of the cross. So it was funny because the first year it was really a road marathon, and year after year with the different commission for the trail, we decided to go more on the trail spirit and more on no more on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So
can I actually pause for a minute, because I actually think a lot of people might even not really know, like, the term cross.
Yeah.
It's a word we have in English, but is it like a cross a specific thing, or how long is the cross today?
The cross today, it's the 23 kilometers, and it's on the trail. It's not on the road. And the cross in France, it's also when you are on the road, like it's the trail running, in fact, more than something else.
Okay, and so the next event, 2003, you started with the marathon, road marathon, half road, half
trail. In 2004, we put on we stopped to do road marathon, and we go with a new way for the marathon on the trail. And at the beginning, it was on a big trail, like a cat way or something like that.
Forest.
Yeah, absolutely. And after, year after year, we decided to go on a short trail for have more the spirit of the mountain. And year after year, we create new races, like 10K, races for the children, the vertical kilometers, and the last one, no, not the last one, the 90K, and the last one, the Etoilé. Because we want to propose a race for everybody. And if we have only the marathon and the 23 kilometers, there is not so many choice for everybody, and we want to propose to the children, to the people who never run before on the trail, so that's why we create all these sort of races.
Okay. Can you explain what the duo Etoilé is? Because I don't think we have a lot of those in the US.
The duo Etoilé, it's a race by two. You have to stay together with your friend. You start at the end of the day and you run inside the mountain during the night and you finish together in the night in Chamonix. And you can see the sun through
Sunset.
Sunset, so not the sunrise. You can see the sunset and you can feel something very nice inside the mountain during the night. And it's proposed for the people who don't have the level to do on the 90K because you have the same spirit on the 90K, but the 90K is more hard than the duo Etoilé.
It's a lot longer.
Yeah.
You try not to see the sunset. You see it rise though.
But most of the people see the sunset than more the sunrise.
So I'm actually, it's expanded a lot, right? You went from one race, now there are 8 events, I think, and you said you want to have something for everyone. It's a pretty big event, but to get into the marathon, it's not easy. There's a lottery. How many people get to run the races? How many people enter the lottery? Where do all these people come from?
On all the races, we have 10,000 people who participate, and we have 30,000 people who come for follow the runners. So during 1 week, we have 44,000 people who come in the valley for follow the marathon.
How many people live in the valley?
10,000 people.
Okay, so we go from 10,000 to 50,000.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big jump.
Yeah. And for the lottery, we have, this year, the lottery was in October, we have 13,000 people who participate to the lottery for the marathon. It's crazy, for only 2,300 places. So it's crazy. Since 2010, we have the obligation to create this lottery because we want to we want to respect the valley, we want to respect also the runners, so we don't want to organize an event with 10,000 runners on the same race. So that's why we need to do a lottery for respect everything.
I think it's maybe worth repeating those numbers. 13,000 people entered the lottery for 2,300 spaces.
Yes.
So they're the people who show up to run the marathon on Saturday or Sunday morning are really the lucky ones.
Yeah. It's hard for us to say no to so many people, but it's an obligation for, as I said before, for the people who run, because we want to offer them the best conditions for running, and it's an obligation also for the valley, because we are not in Paris with big avenue, big road. We are on short way, and we cross the réserve naturelle, so we want to respect the environment also.
I mean, I think that what you're describing is something that we, talk a lot about with outdoor sports generally. It's getting more and more popular, and that's great because we want everyone to be able to experience this, but to maintain the quality of the experience and the health of the natural world, you do have to sometimes find a way to limit the numbers.
Yes.
But speaking of numbers, I'm thinking again of numbers of people. So you've got all the participants and the people who support the participants. But then to actually make the marathon event happen, there's a lot of people behind the scenes as well. And I actually feel like in my experience, when I think about the marathon and my own experience with it, I think about teamwork. As you know, I ran the 90K in 2021, and I only had the success I did because I had so many people who helped make it possible. So in my head, I think, Mont Blanc Marathon, teamwork. And I think that for you, it's the same.
Absolutely.
You've got a really big team. How many people is this? How do you make this event happen?
In fact, inside the sport club, we are 12, and we work on all the year for the event and for the sport club and the other events. But after, we have 600 people, 600 volunteers who come for help us. So it's very important because without them we can't organize everything, and we have also 50 chief volunteers who manage on each
group that's kind of like a
head. By example, we have a chief for the refreshment, we have a chief for the markup, we have a chief for each
of the themes or categories has its own head.
Because for the refreshment of le émotion, by example, you have 15 people who work. So we have a chief for this refreshment, and we give the advice. We work very close with these people, and after this person give the advice to the other people.
So they're kind of like, those are your point people who relay the information to the rest of the volunteers. 600, that's a lot.
Yeah.
As I came into here today, I saw getting set up downstairs. There's a little sign that was like volunteers, pick up your kits this way, and I saw piles of t-shirts and goodies. Talk to me a little bit about, how do you guys prepare for those volunteers? And then if you can give me an image of what kinds of things are the volunteers doing?
The first things to do is to prepare the bib, because we received the bib and there are no timing on the bib. So last week we have a team of volunteers who prepared the 10,000 bib for the runners. And after the second main role of the volunteers is to welcome the runner, because when you have 10,000 runners and 10,000 bib, you have to give them the bib. So at the EMC2, it's a new places where we can give the bib. We have maybe 100 volunteers who are going to pass during 3 days for distribute the bib to the runners. So it's the first meeting between runners and volunteers.
I love the idea of these volunteers all together, almost like Santa's workshop before Christmas. Putting the tiny chips on the bibs, putting the things in the bags, everything to get it ready.
It's exactly that. And after we have some volunteers on the way for markup, the way for the race. We have also some people who dig the snow actually, because at the Brevant there are many snow, so on the 90K the runners will pass in the snow. So we prepare the way, because if we don't dig a little bit the snow, it could be gliding or something like that. So we have some volunteers who go to prepare and to dig the snow.
Yeah, I was last week. I actually went up the Aiguille and came across from Belachat to Brevant, and I was thinking, wow, there's a lot more snow here than in 2021 when I did it. And to make a safe way for the runners to go through, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. So we do that, they do that. Pretty after, we have lots of volunteers who are on the refreshment for
every aid station.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. So that's a lot of things. You've got a lot of stuff that you have to plan, right? Just to make the event run smoothly, to make sure the runners have a good experience, to make sure everyone has the information that they need. But the Club de Sport has also wanted to add another element kind of to the planning, which is to really focus on the environment. And in my experience, I think that the Mont Blanc Marathon is one of the races that is really making the biggest effort to reduce impact environmentally. I've been really impressed with what I've seen. And you're doing a lot. We won't have time to talk about everything, but we'll put a link in the website, or for the website, so people can go and consult all of the information that you provide. When you and I have talked together about this before, one of the things I really like that you said is that from the beginning, the efforts that the marathon has done in favor of the environment weren't necessarily because you wanted to set a good example or, be virtuous in terms of the environment. You said it came from just good sense.
Yes.
It just makes sense. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
It's because we are all from Chamonix. We live in Chamonix and we love this valley. We love the mountain, and we see actually that with the condition climatic, the weather is high and the conditions change a lot. So we want to respect the valley where we live. We don't want to change everything in bad because we have this event. So we want to respect the people who live in the valley. We want to respect the way where we love to go to walk, to climb, and so that's why we have done this effort. And it's not effort in fact. So we have lots of action. We want to reduce the number of cars. So we have a big transport plan for the runners and for the people who follow the runners. We have stopped all the bottle of plastic on the water. We have put some tank on the refreshment.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about that because for the aid stations, right, you've got 10,000 people going through aid stations and everyone wants to drink water. And you told me about that it was about choosing where do you put the aid station.
Yes.
And then how do you provide the water? Is it cases and cases of bottles, or do you have tanks and...
We have big tanks, 1,000 liters of water inside the tanks. And for sure we decide to put the aid station close to the place where we can take the water. Because in Chamonix the water is perfect. You don't need to buy some water inside the bottle. So we put the aid station close to the
source.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the sparkling water, because there are some runners who want some sparkling water with electrolytes, we create our own sparkling water. We invite inside les fûts de bière. I don't know the name in English.
Beer kegs.
Kegs. And we produce our own sparkling water.
Okay, yeah, so carbonating the water and adding electrolytes to the actual water that you're serving.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And after, for the food, we work with the local farm, followed by the cheese, the saucisson, and for proposed local product instead of buying in the supermarket.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty great, yeah. Well, so I was going to ask, actually, part of it is how are the changes that you're making impacting the runners themselves? Like, will the runner know that you're making changes?
We try to give them this information because it's important that they know all this action. For on their side also, they have this a good comportment. We don't want see some paper on the way. We ask them to put inside their pocket. We for the garbage, we separate a lot and we explain to the runner at the beginning, by example, at the big distribution, you can find aid station test, and we can present everything they can find on the aid station during the race. They can test the product, the water. They can see how we separate the garbage, and like that, when they arrive on the aid station, they know what is the good compartment to have.
Yeah, I think that's pretty great. It's like people can imagine it's like Formula One and you're practicing for it. You can run up to the test aid station and taste the food. And I mean, you explained to me that you work with a local nonprofit that does composting. Mm-hmm. So all of the food waste gets composted. Everything else gets recycled. And so really, really reducing the waste.
Yeah. And we try also to use some products without any
packaging.
Packaging, absolutely. So on this part, it's just have a good comportment for the runners. After the main goal actually is to reduce the number of cars who come inside the valley, and it's on this point that we need the help of the runners, because we can't do it by only us. We need that the comportment of the runners change for don't use their own car and to take the train or a bus for come on Chamonix, because after when they are here we do everything perfect, I hope, for they don't use their car, because we have shuttle for the runners who come from the opposite side of the valley for come to the start. So we have some free shuttle for bringing the runners. We have some free shuttle for bringing the people who follow the runner on the main aid station. So we hope that with all this transport plan, the people who come on Chamonix come by bus or by train. That's why we want to work. It's the point on what we want to work maximum.
Well, I'll come back to that again, but I also saw, for example, for big pickup time, you try to propose times so that locals who live maybe, an hour or a half hour away, they don't have to come the night before and drive back. You try to organize it to limit the amount of transport people need as well.
It's difficult to do because we have to decide which distance we take, and for the people who live in Chamonix, we decided to don't propose this meeting point because they are on Chamonix, and we decided to take 1 hour and a half to maybe 2 hours and a half to propose this meeting point only for them on the Saturday morning. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that people don't have to do multiple trips.
But we have also to respect the volunteers. Because if we do that, we have to ask to the volunteer to come very earlier in the morning, and it's hard to find the volunteers who are agree for come at this time. So we have to find a good balance between propose this option to the runners and also find the volunteers who can come to this time for give the bit. Actually, we have for the Saturday. We have the meeting point on the Saturday morning who is full, and the people call the sport club and say, but I can't come on Friday, I want to come on Saturday, but the meeting point is full. And we have to explain them that, we understand that, but the problem is that
everyone can't come.
And we don't have more volunteers than, so for the respect also of the volunteer, you have to, we can't take 1,000 people in 1 hour, for sure.
I imagine that there's somebody who spends the entire week answering phone calls.
Yes.
At least one, maybe more than one.
There are 2.
Okay. No, you can't anticipate everything. When you were talking about the transport and the volunteers and wanting to make sure that everybody's having a good experience, right, and that you're providing, as much as you can to make sure that everyone is doing well, you mentioned also about the impact on the valley and on the community. And I think it's interesting because, Chamonix is kind of like the birthplace of mountain tourism, the birthplace of alpinism. And for a long time, the heart and soul of Chamonix has been dedicated to the high mountains, up there. And some of the biggest events now in town are trail running events, and we have to make sure there isn't too much tension within the valley. What do you guys do? How do you think about, the impact of the event on the community and how the local people feel about the event?
I think there are two points of view. There are some people who love the event because for sure it's on the economic point it's really interesting, and there are some people who are not touched about the economic point and who feel more problem than advantage regarding the event. So for our goal as an organizer. It's not a good word, but organizer. Thank you. I use my word. Our goal is to respect these people and to don't create damage for them. So we try to work with each village and to speak with the people for find a better solution. By example, in Valorcine, we speak with the farmer. And he asked to us to modify a little bit a part of the trail because the people who follow the runners go in
the fields.
Yeah.
Okay.
And walk on it, and after he can't take the grass for the animals. So we modify a little bit the trail for respect his request. Also, we ask a maximum to the runner to don't park to the people on the front of the house of the people who live in the valley, because it's also a problem. The people who follow the runners are very hurried. They want to see the runners and, oh, I can park here, and they park front a house of the people who live inside the house. And for a good feeling, it's important that everybody respect everybody. Mm-hmm. So we speak a lot with all the village, with the people, and we try to find a better solution for a good feeling for the event, for the local population.
And some of the things that you're doing from an environmental perspective, right, are also positive for the community, for the people. I'm thinking about the things you thought about with the noise pollution, like how loud is the event, or when are the lights going to be the brightest, when are the starts and the finishes, and also going through the nature reserves. These are things that the local community values.
Yeah, for sure. In the center of town, we have 4 races who arrive inside the center of town. So we ask to the speaker to limit the noise after 11 o'clock for respect the people who live in town. We have also at the end of the race, we limited the light during the night, and we ask also to the people who run during the night to don't go out from the trail, because there are some animals, and to don't disturb the animals. So we try to have lots of different small things for everybody and for respect everybody and the nature.
And so one of the things, my understanding, right, is that the different measures that the marathon is trying to put in place, and we've really only touched a few of them. The list is really, really long, but some of those ideas are coming from good sense, it's too hard to drive through town if there's so many people, so we're going to limit the number of cars. Some of it is from speaking to, runners and participants and learning about what, you can be doing better. And some of it is from the local residents who give you feedback when you talk to the towns. You also work with an organization that helps you measure the impact of the event.
Yes, the association it's ERCOP, and we work with them. We have lots and lots of questions regarding the event. We work in advance before the event, and we do the same analyze after the event, and it's helped us for find new measure for the next year, and for find the point where we need to have to be better than, instead of stay on this level. We try year after year with this sort of partner to find a new way for be better and for reduce the impact.
And is that something, can the public see the report that ERCOP makes?
Normally yes. Actually, because we have already done this report in the past, it's not on the website, and we are waiting after the marathon. We will have a second report, and we will have the report on the website, yes.
I think that's really great, because if you measure the impact, right, then you can specifically decide what can we improve on. To that end, are there any things that you've tried to do for the environment, for example, or to make a better experience and just didn't work? Like a fails?
This year we asked to the runner if they want a t-shirt, and we were thinking that maybe there are lots of runners who don't want a t-shirt because they do lots of race, and we was thinking that we are going to reduce the number of t-shirts, and finally we can see that there are more than 80% of people who want a t-shirt. So we try. It's not a bad measure, because in fact the people who don't want the t-shirt say no, and the people who want the t-shirt can say yes, and we are sure it's used correctly. But we were thinking that we could reduce more of the goodies, and in fact no.
People want the goodies.
Yeah.
That makes me think another thing that you had put in place is when you sign up for a race, you can offset your impact in your travel.
Yeah. And for the first year, we are happy with the result because there are 2,500 people who give some money to compensate the transport. So I hope this number will be higher in the future, but
25% for the first time is pretty good.
Yeah, it's cool, really cool.
I know that Doug, the founder of Run the Alps, he is running the 90K, and he chose to offset his trip from Mont Blanc to.
Yeah, but if everybody do that, it's a good step. It's the beginning of the compensation, and with the money that we take from the runners, we help 2 local associations, and we decided to help the Crea Mont Blanc. It's an association, a scientific association, scientists.
Well, because I worked for Crea Mont Blanc.
You present the Crea Mont Blanc.
It's
really better than me.
And Run the Alps is also a partner of Crea Mont Blanc through 1% for the Planet. It's the Research Center for Alpine Ecosystems. The acronym only works in French, CREA. And it's a nonprofit research organization focusing on the impact of climate change on biodiversity. And the second one?
It's Silvact.
This one I don't know. It's something with the forest?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because we want, in fact, it's not just only plant a tree. It's not the good way for compensate the impact. The impact. The good thing is to manage the forest first of all before plant a tree. So Silvact is a local association, is from the department, and they work on the forest from the valley and for the department, and so we try to help them with the money for manage the forest.
That's great. So I guess one last question would be, what can we expect from the marathon in the future? Looking forward, I think we know some of the things we can expect for this week, but how about in the years to come?
For this week, I would like good weather. We cross the finger, and for the future, something maybe utopist, but I would like to all the runners come with a train or bus. With no personal car, it could be a dream, but
I like that utopia. Yeah.
And I would like this, and I would like continue to organize an event for everybody with the children. This year we have more than 900 children who run the race. It's crazy. This race is.
How long is the kids' race?
800 meters to 3 kilometers.
Depending on the age.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so cool. I love this race.
That's so fun. All right, well, I think that's all the questions that I have for you right now, except for the lightning round.
Okay.
So, first question, croissant or pain au chocolat?
Pain au chocolat.
Okay. What is your favorite sport at the Club du Sport?
Climbing and skiing.
You're a ski instructor, so
yes.
That makes sense. How about, what is your favorite grand événement?
I think it's the marathon.
Good answer. And who's going to win the marathon?
I hope maybe Jonathan Albon a second time.
Okay.
And for the woman, I don't know. There is lots of suspense, huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
But you like a repeat winner?
I find it's a nice winner. Last year, he's a really nice guy, so...
All right, we'll put our money on him. Last question. How late will you sleep on Monday morning?
Not very late, because we have to ranger, to
clean everything up.
Everything. So maybe I will be at 9 o'clock at the sport club Monday morning, and we have to prepare the World Cup climbing after. So after the World Cup climbing, I can relax.
That is not exactly a late morning, I would say.
No.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you want to tell us about before we close, or do you think,
No, thank you for
this
nice interview. Thanks.
And so again, Magali Chevalier, she's the responsable de grands événements for the Club de Sport de Chamonix. She took time out of Mont Blanc Marathon week to talk to us. We'll see if her her guesses are correct about who might be winning the marathon event. This will be going up online. We'll have a link to the environmental measures that the marathon is taking. And I just, really like to thank everyone for tuning in, to Tony, who's doing our filming today, to Alexandra Yanyad, who's going to be turning this into something we all like to watch. And of course, a special shout out always to Doug Mayer, who should be resting right now before the 90K, but he's probably doing a million different things at the same time because that's what he does. But thanks so much for tuning in, and we're going to say goodbye from here at the headquarters of the Club des Sports. Au revoir!
Bye bye!